you spoke about some of this already. You've alluded in your conversation about how you feel about service. And I want us to hear a little bit more from you about service. So I'm gonna ask now, what does two-part question. Okay. What does public service mean to you? So first part, and you can switch them around if you want to. Second part, what characteristics of what are the characteristics of a public servant? The ideal characteristics of a public servant, and which of those do you feel that you most exemplify? That was kind of three. That was a lot more.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. You want me to go ahead and answer now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, service. It could mean a lot of things to many people. But for me, service and the gift of helps, they're right there together. I can remember as far back as being maybe 6 or 7, going with my paternal grandmother to my paternal great grandmother's house, and just being what I would consider, they might say today, just being in the way. But there were things that were happening from the front room to the kitchen, to the porch, to the clothesline. I wanted to be there to help do something. If it was nothing but carrying the clothespins or bringing the coffee cans back in the house, helping to pass the eggs. Now, I don't like to cook. I like to see people cooking. Let's be clear about that. Taking the eggs because I knew something was going to be cooked that I could partake of. I've always been a part of, and it's intrinsic. It's not for clout or status or title or any of that. My heart smiles when I know that my being a part of something has helped to make something better for someone else. That's service to me. I chose the profession. And I don't know if I chose it or it chose me, but becoming an educator was not on my radar. But I cannot think of any other profession that I would have the level of satisfaction knowing that I've been a public servant in, to, and for, or this is going into my 27th year. That one student whom I saw today, one of the students, he said to me, "Do you remember every day I would come to school and you would make sure my hair was either in a ponytail, you had a basket of rubber bands." Some things I remember, some things I don't. But this kid, I remember, he had so much hair. And I think that was his bonding time with me. I didn't know it then. I thought he was being disobedient. But I think that was his time to get Ms. Grimes's attention. And he brought that up to me today. And he said, "I remember the things you don't remember. You poured into me things that I needed that I didn't even know I needed back then." Finding a need, seeing a need, and doing something about it before you're even asked, that's service to me. So my definition and my look like of service may not look like someone else's. Being a public servant has to be something that you know that has been in you. It's nothing you can read about. It's nothing you can take a class for. It's something that has to be intrinsic, and that you have to come here with it. It can be nurtured, but the seed was already there. It has to be watered, and then it blossoms. And then you become an educator, and you become all sorts of things in that one profession. But I am also, with almost 768, little over, about little under 800 other like-minded individuals who know how important service is. And so my soror, Shirley Chisholm, said, service is the rent we pay for being on earth. I love that. And I think about that, and I use that. I didn't know that when I was a little girl, helping my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my aunt. I didn't know that. I didn't know that quote until I became probably a college student. But it did not really come to fruition until I absolutely joined these like-minded individuals and became a part of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So that's a shameless plug. But it is something that you have to do. And it's not about, as I said, it's not about, you don't ever have to call me Councilwoman. If you see me out here in these streets, you see me out here in the community, you see me out here helping someone, titles they are there for a reason. But service is what I want to be known for. She served, she did. She was always somewhere doing something that mattered. And that's the piece that we leave off. There are a lot of people who are out there, just like folks who go to church, they're there every Sunday when we were, in person. Doesn't mean anything because you show up. What do you do when you show up? And so for me, I can tell you, and that's not being braggadocious, that's not being anything other than transparent and truthful. Service is what I do. And it doesn't matter whether it's getting my hands dirty, getting my shoes messed up, that's okay. If it needs to be done, I'm here. And I believe that my constituents, those whom I've had the pleasure of serving alongside and serving for, I believe they understand that I have a genuine commitment to service.
Yeah. That's good. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I want to, as you were talking about your district and the constituents that you serve in District 5, and as you were speaking about service, my mind was thinking about the council. You sit on and serve with other individuals who represent other districts in Stonecrest. So when you think about the council and you think about the interdependence that it takes to serve collectively, right, with other people for the benefit of a larger of an entire city of people. What do you see as your role in council? If you had told me that you had DC or Marvel, I would have asked you, who are you in the group? Are you the Flash? Are you, yeah. But thinking about your role in council and your service on this group of individuals tasked with guiding the development of the city, what is your asset and your gift? What is your gift of service, and how does it manifest in your role as a council person?
Being, I guess, the newest member. Yeah, I'm a year and 9 months, a year and 10 months old almost. Coming in and just, I would say kind of like almost like a glue. If it's a little crack over here, plug that. Little crack over here, plug that. Give a little bit here. See if that's what's needed to make the scales balanced. that's kind of how I see myself on the council. I am I'm not the mayor pro tem by any stretch. But what I am is I am a supporter. I am I'm almost I would want to say a measuring, not a measuring stick, but almost that dividing line where you have negative on this side, you got positive on this side, and we know we need to keep the scales kind of balanced. And if we've got too much on one side, let's try to do what we need to do to stand it back up. Details, questions that some people may not think to answer. That's me. I try my best to sit and look at what's good for the group. And when I say that, I'm saying what's good for Stonecrest, because each of our voices that we lend to the council should represent our districts. And so what we say collectively should be good for the group, and that group is Stonecrest. So I like to say that I see myself as a beam balancer and glue that kind of plugs the holes so that whatever we say and whatever we do, it's good for the group, and that group is Stonecrest.
That's good. So it sounds like you're a connector, maybe you're a reconciler. That's good. Bridge builder. I heard all of these things as you were speaking. So okay. So that's amazing. When you think about, you talked about the collective, or we were speaking about the collective. Thinking about district representation, that's what we have right now, and thinking about what size we are, how relatively new our city still is. What do you think is the difference, or is there a difference between your responsibility to the residents in your district versus the residents in other districts?
None. No difference. The only difference is, let me tell you what the only difference is. The only difference here is the constituents in District 5, they can vote me in. They can vote me out. We are all, it's just one puzzle. We're just a piece. And the piece can't stand alone and call itself Stonecrest. So when I raise my hand to be sworn in, I am swearing that I will represent and serve every constituent, just about all 60,000. So be it. I can get to you, I can get to you. If you need me, I'm here. You say Tammy Grimes in District 5? Yes, because those are the voting members who can vote me in. But in terms of what I would do for one, there's no I won't do for you because you're not in District 5. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And even those in District 5 who may not have voted for me in District 5, absolutely not. We're in this thing together. And the only way to do that, the only way to move Stonecrest forward together is if I have that kind of service mindset. It's not about District 5 only. We all play a part in doing what's good for the group. And I have the same expectation of every other council member whom I serve with. Nobody serves just in their district alone and then put blinders on to the other. No, I can speak. That's not how we do it on the council. That's not how we do it on the council. We serve the citizens of Stonecrest, and they all are our constituents. Every last one of them, all 58,900, however many we've gotten since we started. And as we're growing so greatly and exponentially, all of them will be constituents. All of them, the ones who will continue to come, will be constituents. Those who are here now, you are constituents. You have to no. That's a no. You wouldn't want someone like that. I don't believe. You didn't ask me that, but I just don't believe you would want someone who only saw district and district only. District is not Stonecrest. district is a piece of the puzzle that fits together with the other 4 districts that makes up these 5 districts of a place we call home. So no, yeah, got to serve everybody. And if you're not willing to serve everybody and make yourself available and allow constituents to have access, that's the key thing there. You gotta be accessible. And so you have to have some communication piece where, because I have people on my email chain, they're not in my district, but they're in Stonecrest. So what? I would say, no, you can't get on. No, you can't sign up to hear what I have to say when I say, please. Who does that? Who does that and wants to be a true public servant? Who does that? No, how dare you? Not in our Stonecrest. We don't do that. No.
Very good. That's good. Thank you so much. Okay. So that was wonderful. Thank you so much for emphasizing the connectivity and collaboration between council members and how you all work collectively to meet the needs of the city, and not in silos, that nobody's really working in a silo committed solely to their district and their district residents only. I appreciate that. I want to touch a little bit before we move on to the segment of our conversation that will be specifically about Stonecrest. I want to ask you about, because this is about service, so this is still general. I want to ask you about ethical governance. What do you understand ethical governance to be? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate its importance?
So in 2019, when my constituents gave me an opportunity to represent them and be the voice for them in Stonecrest, I gave them my word that I would operate in integrity, fidelity, transparency, and truth. And I'm still committed to those things. There is absolutely no way to even use the word ethical government and be a part of the government and not believe that truth and transparency, integrity and fidelity matter. Scale of 1 to 10. If I can't go any higher than 10, then 10 it is. Because what a council member does, according to definition, is to deal with budgets, policy, legislation, that kind of thing. Those are primary for. If those things are not done, not created and handled in a way that transparency is demonstrated. Now, that's a word that is often stated, but sometimes rarely demonstrated. That for me is, there's nothing you should be able to ask me about Stonecrest matters. Anything that deals with our city, not my city, not your city, our city, that deals with our city, that you should not be able to obtain the right way. We have open records request where citizens can get information if it's something that I cannot share or believe that it's best for you to get it directly so that I don't give you any bias when you read it. That's important too. That's very important. If you're not willing to be transparent and you don't have a level of integrity, now let me just say something. Integrity is not something, it's another one of those things. You can't learn that in a college course. I'm sorry, I got somebody, I know you hear that. Hang on just a second. You can't learn that in a college course. You can't find that online and get a degree in it. There again, that's your moral compass. And you have to have one of those. in order to understand that the flag of integrity must wave from your moral compass. You must know right from wrong. You must be able to act. It's one thing to have knowledge, but there's another thing to have demonstrated that you understand that knowledge. And so what I'm saying is truth, transparency, fidelity, and integrity. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all necessary for good governance and ethical governance.
Thank you so much for that response. That was a perfect segue into our third section of conversation, which focuses on Stonecrest.